everybody? Welcome back to ATOWN Rundown, your weekly rundown for the NFL season. We got the playoffs right around the corner. Everything's looking great. I'm Joey. This is Jeremy. As always, we are the Miller Lite Boys.
Hell yeah.
We are going to get down to action here in just a second. But first, let's talk about the Atlanta Hawks. There's some exciting things going on right now. I don't know if everybody listening knows, but Trae Young is in rehab right now with the Skyhawks. Looking like he could make a return soon. So, as always, I'm going to give this to Jeremy because nobody I know better knows more about the Atlanta Hawks than Jeremy. So, let's talk about this whole Trae Young situation going on right now.
Yeah, man. Finally getting Trae back involved. He's back at practice this week. They just cleared him to play for the Skyhawks. Was out for 6 weeks with the MCL sprain. So, hopefully, we're going to see him back in action. I mean, I would hope. Right now it's Tuesday. Let's say, I think it'd be cool if we saw him, on Saturday or something, back with the team. But we'll see. Maybe they take a little more time to kind of work him back in. I don't think there's any rush to get him back in. Hawks are sitting at 15-12 right now, which is right in the middle of the East.
Yeah.
So everything looking good. Kristaps Porzingis out for 2 weeks at least with an illness, which we know now is the POTS disease. So it's not like I see
crazy,
a lot of
dude.
Yeah,
that's a scary thing to have, dude.
Especially for an NBA player, man. So apparently, the symptom of that is sometimes when he stands up, he's very dizzy. And it's like, well, then how the hell is he going to play NBA basketball? So I really feel for him. Depending on how serious this is, apparently it's incurable. So this was an issue with him in Boston last year. Kept him out of a lot of games. It's been an issue so far this year. He's missed, probably just as many games as he's played at this point.
And I don't exactly know what POTS is. I know that my niece has POTS, and I know that every now and then she'll feel very faint, and sometimes she actually will faint and pass out. And
right.
Like I said, there's nothing you can do about it. It's scary. Imagine driving a car or trying to play an NBA game or just doing day-to-day tasks, and all of a sudden you faint and pass out, and there's nothing you can fucking do about it,
Right. So it's at this point, they can't even have him travel with the team with it, acting up the way that it is right now. So I really feel for him, but unfortunately on the sports side, that really hurts the Hawks and could end up seeing him be trade bait. Not so much that he would help teams, but that he's an expiring contract and they could get to the threshold that they need to keep on their roster if they wanted to get rid of some people and start tanking whoever this team could be. There's a lot of rumors that are linking the Hawks to Anthony Davis right now, which I don't know if I love that. Yeah,
it's interesting.
Depending on
I
what
don't know
Dallas
if I love it or hate it, but it's interesting.
Depending on what Dallas would want to give up or would want us to give up, I'm not going to. I mean, you would probably send Porzingis an expiring contract, and I think that they would do that for that purpose. The purpose that I just talked about, at least filling out the roster. But then, if we have to give up Reese Shea and some picks or something like that, I'm not really interested in that. I think, we take our chances with Kristaps Porzingis and hopefully he can get better and come back and play some meaningful basketball with us. But and then, the Giannis trade thing is still out there. Those are the two big, trade buzz guys out there right now that everyone's talking about. And I've seen a lot of.
I could definitely see Davis ending up in Atlanta, but I could never see Giannis ending up in Atlanta.
No, me either. And I think the Bucks are just going to ask for too much. They're going to want Trae Young. I don't want to trade Trae Young. I know that we've been pretty good without him, but I personally believe, and 2 months from now, I could be proven wrong about this, but I think we're going to be a lot better when he comes back.
Yeah, but the whole trading Trae Young thing, it's not a new conversation. I think they even
this happens every year, dude. And there's never any truth to it.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they actively try to trade him last season, or was that all rumor?
No, it's always rumors, man. It's anytime there's a slow week in the NBA, whether it's in the off season or whether it's just in the season before the trade deadline, every team that, first of all, they constantly talk shit about Trae. He's the most disrespected player in the league. Everybody knows that. But then, all of a sudden when they get bored, you'll see these Laker fans pop up with a picture of Trae in a Lakers jersey, but oh, well, what if we could get Trae Young, or what if, the Spurs could get Trae Young? It's
you don't want him until there's an opportunity to get him.
Right. Exactly. Oh, he sucks until you think that you can get him. I don't see Trae getting traded. I mean, we do have the new general manager, Onsi Soleil, and he's always said, at least so far, that he thinks that Trae is part of our future. And I think he should be. Good. He's got 2 years left on his deal. They still have, people were making a big stink about how they didn't renegotiate his contract this offseason. But I think that honestly, they just couldn't get to that number, and they're not going to negotiate that kind of stuff during the season. And I'm kind of glad they didn't, considering Trae's hit this injury. But in all honesty, I feel like they're kind of taking it slow with Trae to make sure that he can go through the rest of the season without making this injury any worse. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel pretty good about everything. I don't really see the Hawks like making a huge trade for Anthony Davis or Giannis at this point, but we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see how things go.
I
They're
mean,
playing
only
good. There's really no need for it.
yeah, and only time will tell. We got a long NBA season. It's going to be awesome to see Trae Young back. But
And
on
our
the other
picks are
hand, we are
untouchable. I'm going to go ahead and say that we are not trading that New Orleans
yeah,
pick. Period.
absolutely. But on the other side, in the other sport that we love to cover,
Yes.
we are coming very close to the end of the regular season of the NFL,
Yep.
and the playoffs are right around the corner. This is with as wacky as this football season has been. This playoff hunt is becoming ultimately very exciting. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to go ahead and march into it. These Miller Lights are going to get very empty by the end of this conversation. But Jeremy and I, we're going to look ahead. We're going to look at what the playoff picture is right now. We're
We
going to
got
break
plenty,
down.
baby.
We're going to break down to you guys who's locked in, who's still in the race, who's on the cusp of being in the race, and who is completely out. What I'm going to do right now, I'm going to start out with the AFC. And in the AFC, we got the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos have clinched a playoff spot. They're sitting on top of the AFC, and they look like they could end up the number one seed soon. The Denver Broncos have almost come out of nowhere and just shown who they are this season. Bo Nix is incredible. They look like an unstoppable force. They've had very few miscues, very few fuck-ups. They've been an incredible team this season so far. Yep. On the other, you also got the New England Patriots, who are leading the AFC East. They're still alive, and they're still a very prime contender. I know that they had that loss to the Buffalo Bills, but one loss isn't going to take you out of the race. They're still very much in this. And you also have the Jacksonville Jaguars, who I never thought I would be saying this about them, but they are running the AFC South right now. The AFC South is the Jacksonville Jaguars division. They are strong in front. They look incredible right now. I, in my entire life, have never seen Jacksonville play this good. So they are very, very, very much in the lead and in the mix right now. So here are some teams that are still in the race in the AFC. You got the Los Angeles Chargers, who are a very good contender. Their record is strong enough to grab a postseason wild card. Like, they could very much be in the playoffs. You got the Buffalo Bills, who are still in the hunt. They need a few wins, but they're currently sitting in wild card territory. And then you got the Houston Texans, who are holding on to the last spot now in the playoff race, and nothing's guaranteed. Also, Pittsburgh
I like
Steelers.
their chances though right now, because
I like their chances very much too.
Think about, before we get like further into that, just about the Texans while it's here, because you have the Ravens and the Colts that are on the bubble right now. The Colts, I do not see them challenging to take the Texans spot, nor the Buffalo Bills. Like, it would take a big catastrophe, and the Texans having like the best defense in the NFL. I just don't see it in the Colts situation. I don't see them catching up to them.
Yeah. And one more team that's in the playoff hunt, right now is the Pittsburgh Steelers, who I didn't see this coming, not with the way their season started, but they're leading the AFC North, so they're still alive, and a division lead is huge right now. So, like I said, this has turned to be a very wacky season, especially in the AFC. What's even more wacky is, for the first time since 2014, we've thought it was going to happen. It pretty much happened because of an ACL tear. Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs are out of the playoffs. Yep. They will not be in the playoffs this season for the first time since 2014. We lived to see the day where the Kansas City Chiefs dynasty has officially ended.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, they got a lot of holes to fill in the offseason, but just too many things that didn't go their way, and too many mistakes. Like, and we talked about them all season. Every time that they lost, we would say like, well, this is kind of, we thought they were back, but they're not back. Well, now we know for a fact.
But I will say, your point right there, they have a lot of holes to fill in the offseason, but the Kansas City Chiefs have the money and they have the credibility to fill those holes. Like, Kansas City Chiefs could very well bounce back next season and be an unstoppable force. There's not a whole lot of players right now that wouldn't want to go to the Chiefs, wouldn't want to play for Andy Reid, wouldn't want to play with Patrick Mahomes when he gets healthy. You can't count the Kansas City Chiefs. They had a bad year. They had a bad season, but that doesn't mean they're done and over with. That doesn't mean the dynasty can't reform and come back, because
but
the money.
The ACL injury for Mahomes, I mean, I know people think that he's going to be able to come back and start early next season. I doubt it.
No, he won't.
And I wouldn't even try to,
No, and he shouldn't. But the thing is, you know who Patrick Mahomes is, and if he builds a strong enough team around him, Patrick Mahomes can come into the NFL week 5 and still take a team to the playoffs if he's got the right team around him.
Right. If they can survive that stretch without him, then I'd be willing to say, like, let's see what the Chiefs got next year. I'm not going to say like, oh, this is, I know you just said like the dynasty's over. Like, maybe it's not. I mean, it certainly isn't continuing this year. But, one bad year, if they come back in the next 3 years, they retool around Patrick Mahomes, who knows what could happen?
Yeah, because look at Tom Brady. He won 7, but how many times did he get there? How many times did he not get to the playoffs? Like it happens. I guess in a way I am comparing Patrick Mahomes to Tom Brady. In a way, they do have a.
Well, in recent times, he's the one winning the Super Bowls.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah. But also in the AFC, out of the whole playoff picture is the Miami Dolphins, Cincinnati Bengals, Jets, Browns, Raiders, Titans, all done, all going this season without the playoffs. So sad, so sorry for you. Now let's look into the NFC. Now, in the NFC, you got the Rams, who clinched, and they're leading the conference. You got the Chicago Bears with their NFC North lead. You got the Philadelphia Eagles, who are pretty much in control of the NFC East right now.
Yeah.
But these teams are still in the dogfight. You got the Seattle Seahawks with a strong record and a wild card push. You got the 49ers, who are sitting in the hunt. You got the Green Bay Packers, who are holding the wild card spot, but they're not necessarily safe right now. And then, of course, you do have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are leading the NFC South, but it looks like they're going to fall apart at any moment right now.
Yeah, barely leading the Panthers, and I think they still got to play them twice. So,
and I'll tell you this right now: any team that wins the NFC South is going to go home the first round of the playoffs. Absolutely.
Yeah, but did we say that about the Bucs? I think it was. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, where the NFC South, first of all, has been a bad division over the last 5 years.
Oh yeah,
and this would be if the Buccaneers were to win it this year, it'd be their 5th straight. But I think they did come in and they beat someone in the first round last year, but nothing after that. They had a little bit of Baker magic, and then it went away.
Yeah, kind of like how this whole season went. A little bit of Baker magic, and then it went away.
Right, and I feel like they're a little worse off this year than they were last year. So, yeah, whoever wins the NFC South, I don't really have a lot of hope for them. I personally think it'd be a little more fun to see the Panthers win it, just because we never know what Panthers team we're going to get when they play.
Well, speaking of which, the Panthers are still on the fence. They're a 500 game, so they're a 500 team. Right now, every game is life or death, but they're still on the edge, along with the Detroit Lions, who are still breathing in the wild card hunt, and then the Dallas Cowboys. Very long shot right now, but there's wins, and they're going to require a lot of chaos. And if you look at the NFC for the teams that are completely done, the Saints are completely done. The Commanders are completely done. The Cardinals, the Giants, the Falcons, no shot left. And unfortunately, the Minnesota Vikings. And a lot of people know, because here's the thing, because just last week we were talking about how they could have been in the wild card hunt. But here's the thing. They had that win against Dallas. So it kind of feels wild to say that they're out of the playoff hunt. But the short version is that Dallas win helped their pride, but it didn't help their mouth. The Vikings dug themselves too deep of a hole earlier in the season, and then they buried themselves with the conference record and tiebreakers, and multiple teams that they needed to lose kept winning, and that ultimately knocked the Vikings out. Even though they started playing well, it's too much too late. Football math added up, conference games that they lost that they should have won. Even though it was a good moral victory and it was something to get excited about for a split second, the teams that they needed to lose still won. And even though they did defeat the Dallas Cowboys, they still don't get to go into the playoffs. So it is kind of heartbreaking for Minnesota.
Yeah, totally. But, that's why you got to take care of business early in the season, man. Because if you leave it up to other teams to lose for you, then most times it's not going to work out for you.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So now what we're going to do, we're kind of reformatting things. Jeremy and I talked about this last week, and we said, we come in here, we do this every Thursday, and what we do, we're recapping games that happened on Sunday. By the time Thursday gets around, you guys don't want to hear that shit anymore. You've already heard all the recaps you're going to hear. You're getting ready to go into the next week's games. You want to hear who is this team facing? What does it look like? So for you guys, for this gift to you, we have started formatting our show this way. And since this is going to come out on Thursday night, we have a matchup against the Rams and the Seahawks. And this is a big playoff outlook game right here. Both teams are sitting at 11-3. Both teams are tied right now with an 11-3 record.
Division opponents?
Yep. Division opponents sitting right on top of each other. The Rams are sitting right on top of the Seahawks right now because of the win they had against them earlier in the season. The Rams have already clinched a playoff berth, and this is the 3rd year straight under Sean McVay. Sean McVay, great coach to have, and he's so good that we even gave him one of our draft picks.
We sure did, man, and I hope they do something good with it.
Yeah,
because chances are it's gonna be a damn good one.
The Rams are still in the hunt for the number 1 seed in the NFC, and a loss here could shove them into the wild tiebreak jungle of chaos, with San Francisco and Chicago and everybody else. The Seahawks right now, a win doesn't just keep them in it; it puts them in the Rams division control. So the win here would put them above the Rams, and then they would be in control of their division, and that's what they're looking to do. And they handled their business last week against the Colts. It was not a pretty win,
just barely.
Yeah, it was not a pretty win. In fact, it was a win against a quarterback who just came off of retirement for sitting on the couch for 4 fucking years, and you beat him by 3 points. Just saying, throwing that out there. But this will give them good momentum. So this is basically a de facto division title game. Loser is staring down an uphill climb for the stretch. So like I said, this is how each team played last week. The Rams beat the Detroit Lions 41-34, which is a good win against a good team, all things considered. There were offensive fireworks, but the defense did give up chunks. Puka Nacua had a monster game, and Colby Parkinson showed legit third option juice. However, there's tackling issues that have popped up lately after being this elite earlier in the season. Now, the Seahawks, like we said, they etched out a victory. It was close, 18-16 win over the Colts with a game-winning field goal. It's clutch, but it's very fucking far from dominant. And then you also got to look at the injury side of things. So the Rams, Devontae Adams is going to be questionable after a hamstring issue, and his potential absence is going to be a huge deal going into this game against Seattle. And then other guys like Kobe Turner is listed as questionable. But McVay is giving optimistic vibes about both these guys. And then the Seahawks, they have Charles Cross, which is their left tackle, dealing with a hamstring tweak. He could be limited or he could be out, which would really test Seattle's offensive line. And then a couple other players like DeMarcus Lawrence and Cody White are limited. So injury swings here in the matchup could really determine the outcome. This is how the Rams could get the W. If Devontae Adams plays, it does help keep Seattle's secondary honest. And you're kind of going to be able to read them a lot better. And if Stafford protects the ball and avoids turnovers, the Rams beat Seattle earlier thanks to multiple interceptions on the Seattle side. And the Rams front has to get pressure consistently. If they disrupt Darnold, then there's chaos for Seattle, and that's what you really want. But what Seattle needs to do is they got to control it in the trenches. They got to win the offensive line battle if Charles Cross is out. They got to shorten the game. They got to run Kenneth Walker and chew the clock. They got to force Stafford into mistakes. And the Rams defense has looked shaky tackling and with coverage at times. So those are the key things you got to do as well. You got to remember there's some weaknesses to exploit. When we look at the Rams, their tackling has slipped. They've been missing tackles, and it can absolutely kill you in a rivalry game. The secondary bails out of coverage. Seahawks can win and move the ball through the air. With Seahawks, their inconsistent offense outside of Walker and Smith has, really, really been detrimental this season so far. We've seen it happen in multiple games. And then turnovers, like I was just mentioning, they lost week 11 because Darnold threw 4 interceptions against the Rams. So there's high stakes at this. There's division control. The Rams do have an edge. There's tiebreaker, clinch playoffs. And there's also X factor statuses. Like if Devontae Adams plays, that's going to be the key they need to win, personally, in my opinion. I think right now, if I'm looking at this on paper with everything, all things considered, I want to go ahead and start giving predictions for games. And I'm going to say, I think this is the Rams game to win.
Yeah. I mean, I'm expecting this is probably the most exciting game of the week. This and probably Broncos and Jaguars, but at least to me, I don't know. And maybe Packers and Bears. This is going to be a hell of a week, man. But starting out with Rams and Seahawks, dude, I'm expecting a full-on shootout. I mean, both offenses coming in. I mean, Seattle not coming in as hot. They weren't able to do as much against the Colts last week, but with the Rams,
which was kind of it took me by surprise.
Yeah,
it took me by big surprise that you got Daniel Jones out there. Your key focus needs to be on Jonathan Taylor, and you're also playing a fucking.
Or you don't have Daniel Jones that day. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. You don't have Daniel Jones.
I'm talking more about like Seattle's offense not being able to put up numbers against the Colts, man. I mean,
absolutely.
And with these two teams, we've got passing attack, Rams number 2 in the league, Seattle number 8. So both of those top 10, Rams a little bit better. I mean, you mentioned Devontae Adams. And then I think Puka Nacua is
honestly, I think 2 is so much better than 8, especially when it gets this late in the season.
Well, yeah, and I think Puka Nacua is maybe my favorite wide receiver this season. And then Matt Stafford is just on an absolute tear, not to mention, but on the other side, Sam Darnold has had a hell of a season. If he could keep the interceptions under control this time against the Rams, I mean, this is going to be a really close game because both defenses aren't very good, and they both kind of stack up the
Mhm.
exact same way on both sides. It's Rams rushing defense 25, Seattle 28, and then passing Rams 25, Seattle 28. I mean, that's pretty evenly matched. I see both defenses giving up a lot of yards and probably
Yeah.
I'd say 3 to 4 touchdowns on each side. More than likely, man. It's going to be a high scoring game. And whichever team can, get through the quarterback and kind of slow that down. I mean, I know this sounds simple, but like that's what's going to win this game. I don't think that there's going to be any problems of seeing some highlight rushing and passing from both teams.
Mhm.
And this is going to be good. And the fact that it's a division game here at the end of the season, both of them need it. I think they're both, shoe in for the playoffs at this point, but winning that division and possibly being the number 1 seed to where you get to host playoff games the whole way through the NFC is a big deal.
Yeah. And even what I was saying, what I meant was it's surprising to me that they even had the Colts score 16 on them and have it be that close of a game. Have it be decided by that.
That doesn't look great for the Seahawks, in my opinion.
And that's what makes me nervous about the Seahawks going into this game against the Rams.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they still didn't give up a lot of points, but I mean, you're talking about a completely different level offense.
But they also didn't score a lot of points. So,
right.
So like,
that's what I worry about.
You didn't give up a lot of points, but you only beat a team by 2 points, and their quarterback just came out of a 4-year retirement, and he's 44 years old, and he hasn't played a snap of professional football in 4 years, and you only beat them by 2 fucking points. Like that's worrisome.
Yeah,
right
and
now
the Colts defense isn't very good. Yeah, the Colts defense isn't very good. I thought they were going to hang 30 on them, and it didn't happen. So that worries me a little bit. But maybe you had a little bit of an off day. But let's think about this scenario right here as we get into playoffs. If Seattle doesn't win this division and they sit at number 5, so they don't get to host a playoff game, and let's say like the Panthers win. No, actually, let's flip that. I think this would be a little more interesting. What if the Rams lose? They're now at number 5, and then the Panthers win the division. The Panthers host the Rams again. Remember what happened when the Rams came to Carolina a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
What if, maybe that's a matchup they don't want to see right now. So that just makes it a little more important. Like you want to host this playoff game, and both teams very good, but only one team can win the division. Not to mention the 49ers are not slowing down yet, and they could come up and take this division from somebody.
I mean, I'll tell you, I am not a betting man by any standard. I just lied. But I will tell you that my money my money would be on the Rams simply because of that performance that the Seahawks had against the Colts.
Me too.
Which in my mind was it's either one of two things. Either they were not trying to run out of gas and save everything for this remaining part of the season, or the Colts exposed some things about them. Because granted, yes, they won. I know they won. And in the NFL, a win's a win. But when you win against that Colts team with that Colts quarterback, I would be very nervous going against the Rams right now.
Totally, man. Yeah, give me the Rams though. But again, I think that this is a hell of a way to start off the Week 16.
Speaking of hell of a game, we got a rematch. We got Packers versus Bears, which this game is oddly on a Saturday. There's 2 Saturday games this coming up Saturday. We got the Commanders and the Eagles, which we're not going to go into because I don't really care about either team. And the Commanders don't have any playoff hopes right now. And I honestly think that the Eagles are going to easily walk away with a victory right there.
And that'll probably seal the deal for the Eagles winning the division too. If they win that.
It absolutely will.
Yeah.
But when you look at this game, Bears versus Packers, this is where the excitement comes in.
Yes.
Right now, the Packers are 9-3-1, and it's that tie. That tie very well could bite them in the fucking ass because right now they're still technically ahead in the NFC North thanks to their earlier win in Chicago. But right now they're in the playoff mix and still look like a division contender.
No, I think the Bears are leading the division now after last week.
Are they?
Yeah.
Did it flip?
I believe so. Let's take a look at that playoff picture.
Oh yeah, it did because the Bears are 9-4.
Yep, and there you go.
9-4.
No, they're 10-4 now. And you got Packers 9-4-1.
9-4-1.
So
it's that one that's just fucking killing them, dude.
And had they didn't have that one, and they were 10-4, they would have the tiebreaker over the Bears right now. Mm-hmm. But they don't. So right now they have the last wild card spot, and the Bears are leading the division. So this is going to be, maybe equally as exciting as the Rams and Seahawks.
Yeah.
Just because of the implications,
absolutely.
man. Like, this is a big deal.
Yeah. And if you look at what happened last week, the Packers did lose to the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
It was a big L. It wasn't an ugly lose because it was 34-26. So points were scored, but it was devastating circumstances. It did look like with the Packers, star pass rusher Micah Parsons, I believe, tore his ACL as well.
Yep.
So he's going to be out for the remainder of the season. Then you had Kristen Watson, who left with a chest and shoulder injury. And overall, the defense just lost its alpha. So that really takes a lot of the mojo out of the team, especially on defense. You got to worry when you're going to go against the Bears going into that with a beaten up defense like that, because the Bears had a big win. Granted, the big win was against the Browns, but it was 31-3, and Chicago completely flexed. I mean, they slapped around Cleveland, and then that's the win, as you were saying, that put them back on top of the North. And Caleb Williams looked legit out there. He looked legit against the Browns, but he looked legit. He looked like he was actually making game time decisions. Looks like him and his coach did have a heart to heart. He wasn't out there playing frantic football. Everything was decisive. Everything was on point. Granted, you're playing the Cleveland Browns, so you gotta understand going into this game on Saturday, you're not playing the Cleveland Browns, you're playing the Green Bay Packers, who are neck and neck with you and are fighting to take your fucking lunch right now. So there's a lot of keys to victory right now. We know what the Packers got to do. They got to overcompensate for fucking defense. Jordan Love's got to look stellar out there. And for the Bears, they got to learn how to finish drives. They get the ball in scoring range more often than not, but you don't need to kick a field goal when you can punch it in. I understand what I'm saying right now, especially with the critique I gave Caleb Williams last week. That wasn't a field goal situation. That was a fucking you need to score a touchdown right now situation. But this is where game management comes into play. And the Bears have been outstanding in game management this season so far, aside from that most recent loss. So if they can get the game management and clock management down, and they can exploit the Packers' weekend pass rush right now, especially with Micah Parsons being banged up, and you just got to keep Williams upright. Like if the offensive line can just give Williams the time he needs to sit back and read and think and get the ball to where he needs to, I see the Bears taking away this game, dude.
Well, let me tell you real quick why I would pick the Bears in this game, and it's that offensive line. It's probably the best in the NFL right now, and they've got the number 2 rushing attack in the league right now in all of the NFL. And then, Packers have the number 8 rushing defense, but without Micah Parsons.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is going to be, and look, I love the Packers offense for the most part. I mean, like, I feel like their passing offense is better than, I know that it's better than the Bears, but the fact that the Bears have an all around, I would take having that number 2 rushing offense and that offensive line over having a, marginally better passing attack that the Packers have. Something about I was talking to a friend at the bar this weekend that came up who's a Bears fan, and unfortunately I know probably as many Bears fans as I know Falcons fans here in Atlanta, which is stupid, but
which is odd because I only
Chicago's so great. We all moved to Atlanta, man.
I only ever knew one Bears fan, and he ended up moving to New York, and now he lives in the middle of nowhere, upstate New York. But anyway, what's up, Josh?
Nice. So, anyways, he was explaining to me, like why the team has been so good this year, and it's Ben Johnson, their new head coach, who was the offensive coordinator from Detroit, who took them to the NFC Championship, and it got me thinking, man, like these teams, I don't necessarily want if I were to be hiring coaches, which hopefully we will be soon, the Atlanta Falcons, I mean, getting an offensive head coach that's like that. You almost never have to worry about who the offensive coordinator is. You can change offensive coordinators whenever you want, but like, look at Sean McVay. Like, nobody cares who their offensive coordinator is because Sean McVay is there.
No, because you got Sean McVay.
Nobody cares who the Bears.
Sean Payton.
Yeah, exactly. Look at Sean Payton. Look at Sean McVay, and now look at Ben Johnson. To me, like, you can always go get defensive coordinators.
Look at Andy Reid.
But these defensive coaches, they rely on that too much.
I can't even name you the coordinators on the Chiefs because of how good Andy Reid is at his job.
Yeah, right. Nobody talks about him. Same thing with Sean McVay, So I think that the Bears having that is a big deal. And then while also still having a, middle of the road defense. I mean, I guess they're a little bit less than that. Like right now they're at passing defense, Bears number 18, rushing defense number 23. The Packers got them on that because their defense has been very good. Passing number 8, rushing number 8, but again, without Micah Parsons and without the pass rush that you're going to need against an offensive line like that, and to be able to the way that the the Bears are going to be able to run play action with that offensive line and that massive rushing attack, I think the Packers they got their hands full on Saturday.
Absolutely. Because what I was going to say, to your point and to your credit, you brought up some very good points. And right now, the Packers are talented, but they're very much not the same team that they were even 2 weeks ago. And losing Parsons and a guy like Watson in back-to-back snaps is kind of the adversity that reveals your true identity. And you're going to see what they can really be without the two star players on Saturday.
Yeah, and look, Jordan Love can still go out there and win you a game.
And the Bears are hungry, dude. The Bears are fucking hungry right now. And they are riding some momentum too.
Yeah, but it's like, Jordan Love can go out there and sling it around and keep you in that game and possibly win.
This game is in Chicago, by the way.
Okay, well, that's another thing that stacks up against them. I just think that the Bears have everything they need to control the game and control the time of possession, and I think that that's going to put the Packers in a position that they don't necessarily want to be in. I mean,
everything that I'm seeing right now, everything points to the Bears.
Yep.
I see the Bears taking this. So money on Bears.
Yep, same here. I'll take the Bears.
All right, so now if we look at this, we're still looking at the playoff picture. We're only talking about playoff bound teams right now, even if their opponent isn't playoff bound. We're going to talk into the Chargers and the Cowboys. The Cowboys are coming off that loss against Minnesota that I was just telling you about earlier in the podcast, but now they're somehow still in the playoff hunt, even though they are pretty far behind the Eagles right now. The Eagles are going to have to fuck up left and right for the Dallas Cowboys to be able to take the division, and I don't see that happening. And right now you got the Chargers who are sitting comfortably, and they're chasing Denver at the top. They've put themselves in control of their own destiny for a playoff spot and win here, and things get significantly cleaner for week 17 and 18 going into the postseason. Right now, the Chargers just beat the Chiefs. It was the game where Patrick Mahomes tore his ACL. Right. Even with that happening, I did still see the Chargers. It was a very hard-fought game, and the Chargers did come behind in the third quarter to finally take the lead. But
the Chargers also put Patrick Mahomes into hero mode, which may have led to this injury,
And I think it is. But it wasn't a huge win either. It was a very gritty 16-13 win. It was defensive, grinded out slugfest. Herbert toughed it out, even though he's got a broken fucking hand. So you got his tenacity right there. There's not a quarterback who's going to come into an NFL game and play every snap of an NFL game with a broken hand unless he's trying to prove that he wants to get into the playoffs. And that's exactly what Justin Herbert's doing right now. He's playing with pure ice in his veins. He's looking great. He's not looking like a prime time fucking all franchise, all pro quarterback, but he's getting the fucking job done, and he's doing it with a broken hand. And I don't know how often you see that happen.
Sure.
So, and right now, they're playing the Cowboys, who just lost 34-26 against the Vikings. It wasn't like a close game. It wasn't like, Dallas went out there and gave it all they got. It was 34-26 against a game against a team that is now officially eliminated from the playoff contention. They had missed field goals. The defense couldn't close on the Vikings, and Prescott wasn't terrible. He just wasn't enough. And that's a trend we keep talking about with Dak Prescott. He's going out there. He's having an MVP, hunt season, but he's just not doing enough to close the game. And ultimately, it is the team around him that's fucking up too, because there were a couple of missed field goals. And missed field goals, they could have at least marched it up and only lost by 2.
Didn't they have that crazy fake field goal, though, for a first down? Did you see that?
They did, and it was amazing.
Badass.
It was fucking awesome.
That was cool.
It was awesome.
Love to see that. I've never seen a fake field goal go like that and succeed.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
But when you got a team around you that's not doing their job, it makes your job so much fucking harder to accomplish. And that's kind of what's going on with Dak Prescott right now.
Do you want to hear something? I want to say something about Dak Prescott and the amazing season that he's having. But listen to this, man. And I've been talking about this all season long.
Before you do that, listen to this. Listen to this.
Oh, yeah.
Miller Lite time.
It's like, I love that sound. It's like John Gruden where he's like, that sound's got me feeling really nice. You see that clip by him talking about Jared Goff going 18 for 18. Anyways, listen to this, man. Dak Prescott has been amazing this season, absolutely amazing. Can't say anything bad about the way that he's been playing. The Cowboys have the number 1 passing offense in the league. Okay, and I don't think that's that shocking because they have been able to put up points on just about everybody this year. but they have the
And look at who
worst.
he's got. CD Lamb is amazing right now. CD Lamb is
Absolutely.
going crazy right
Oh,
now.
yeah. But they have the absolute worst passing defense in the league, number 32. And I think that's so this matchup's a little because the Chargers offense has kind of been, I'd say, better than average. The passing hasn't been as good. You mentioned the Justin Herbert injury. I'm sure that has a lot to do with it, but like they can still run the ball. They're number 11 in rushing attack.
I mean, they can still win. So what's it fucking
Sure.
matter?
But
What's that
let's say
injury
this.
matter?
But right. Well, here's something that I think is going to be interesting. Is the Cowboys, as good as their offense is, and they're number 15, so they're the top half of the league in rushing, but Chargers defense number 3 in passing and number 11 in rushing. So this is going to be a nice test for Dak Prescott because I think that their passing defense is bad enough to where Justin Herbert might be able to go out there and do what he has to do, injury or no injury. But if the Chargers defense can keep those numbers up the way that they are, you might be able to go ahead and knock the Cowboys out.
I mean, I think really what the Chargers got to do, they got to keep the defense disruptive. The Chargers are built to make pressure and turnovers. Turnovers matter, and that's honestly how they beat the Chiefs, by forcing turnovers. And if they manage the game and finish in the red zone against the Cowboys defense that gives up points, because they do, efficiency wins. Right now they're playing free football with something to game and momentum on their side, and Herbert is a fucking baller even when he's dinged up. He's out there showing that to you right now. There's a lot of things the Cowboys have to do, but you can ultimately dwindle it down to this. They have to outscore the Chargers because that's something they're not doing. They're not outscoring the other team. And it does boil down to defense. And you got to feel so fucking bad for Dak Prescott when he consistently has played at a high level his entire career. But there keeps being something on the Dallas Cowboys that is his Achilles from making it where he needs to go. His Achilles, not literally,
not his actual Achilles.
Not his actual Achilles. But
passing defense, man. Yeah, that's not.
It's like if it's not one thing,
not,
it's another.
That's not
if it's not a reliable running back, then it's not a reliable wide receiver. Then all of a sudden it's your defense. Like he's doing everything right, and he just can't catch a break. So eventually you start to feel bad for him. I'm not.
Reminds me of those years with Joe Burrow. It's like, wow, the passing game is so good, and then the defense is so bad.
Yeah.
It's just, especially you're talking best passing attack, worst passing defense. Like, come on, Jerry Jones. You got to do better for this guy. That's bullshit.
And right now, my takeaway is just that the Chargers are a better team right now. They've got the record. They've got momentum. They've got a defense that creates chaos. The Cowboys are in desperation football. You feel the urgency with them, but the execution hasn't been there. And you got to watch for turnovers and red zone efficiency. The Chargers have the edge defensively. If Dallas punts and field goals instead of touchdowns, it's going to get ugly really fast. And I think that the Chargers have more of a playoff motivation right now than the Cowboys are able to compete with. And I see the Chargers taking this game.
I'm going to say, I'm going to have to agree with you again, man, just because I think that I think the Chargers just have a more balanced team. And kind of what I said about the Bears, more so about the Bears, but I think the Chargers they'll be able to control the pace of this game. Dak Prescott is going to sling it around, but if a couple turnovers go the Chargers' way, I think they have enough to just be able to run the ball, dink and dunk. Justin Herbert doesn't have to overexert himself. The Cowboys defense is going to give up first downs. They absolutely will. So if they can just control the clock, I think they're going to be just fine. Cowboys, start planning for Cancun.
Yeah. All right. So now a fun one. This personally,
yes.
You were saying that Rams Seahawks might be game of the week. I feel like this is my game of the week because I feel like this is probably going to be the best fought game of the week. We got the Broncos going against the Jaguars. Now the Broncos are very much in the playoff conversation right now. But
they're clinched.
But Jacksonville is firmly in the AFC mix, and they're battling for either division edge or playoff seeding. Trevor Lawrence is going out there with something to prove. Trevor Lawrence, the kid who beat Kansas City this year, even though you beat an abysmal Kansas City. Did you see what he was doing on that last play? How he just wouldn't go down. How he kept fighting for it,
man. Yeah,
and that play right there is that play right there. If you watch that film, that is ultimately the essence of the Jacksonville Jaguars this season. They just won't fucking go down.
Yeah, they got a little bit of magic going with them, man. And both these teams like pretty evenly matched when you look at like where their stats are, where they land in the league, man. So first off, you got in passing offense, you've got Broncos number 11, Jaguars number 18, and then rushing Broncos 17, Jaguars 16. So you give the advantage to the Broncos in that. But listen to this
They're
defense,
damn near
man.
evenly matched, dude.
Yeah, and the
Damn near
defense,
evenly matched.
yeah, the defense here is passing Broncos passing defense number 11, Jaguars number 20, which isn't that great, but I don't think that tells the whole story. Rushing though, man, this is cool. Rushing Broncos number 2, Jaguars number 1. So you better be able to sling it because the defense is not giving up.
Well, dude, I'll tell you this. I got Travis Etienne Jr. on my fantasy team, and oh boy, am I so glad I fucking drafted him. That kid has been on fucking fire this season.
Hell yeah.
So if we look at the Broncos last game, Denver played very physical defense first football, which is what you're going to have to do against Jacksonville. And their offense did do enough to win, but they didn't really do anything flashy. The defense did keep them alive, like I said, and the offense was kind of stalling again. So even with as great as Bo Nix has been this season, defense has really been winning these games. And what's the oldest saying in football? Defense wins games, and Denver is proving that. Jaguars in the last game, Jaguars leaned on tempo and explosiveness. They are a very quick team. They have a very fast tempo, and they like to explode on plays. They like to do big drives, and they like to get it to the red zone as quickly as they possibly can. Mm-hmm. And when the offense was rolling, it looked very dangerous. When it stalled, the defense had to spend too much time on the field, and that's something you got to worry about when you're going against the Denver Broncos right now.
Yeah, totally, man. I think this is going to be very exciting and well, like evenly matched. I know that Bo Nix has been playing his ass off. But here's the thing about the Broncos defense. You're not going against, the Chiefs backup this week for half the game. You're going against a team that's gelling really well right now.
I think they're a relatively healthy team too. I don't think there's any key injuries right now either. And
they've lost some guys throughout the season. They got that young kid, stud kid that was playing offense and defense. He was out for the year. But that was 2 months ago. So
no, Jacksonville, Travis Hunter, he's out for the season.
Right. Yeah. So it's like they do have injuries, and
but they've been doing just fine without him.
Right. They've already adjusted to that. Fine. They're rolling. Honestly, man, I know everyone's going to pick the Broncos.
I meant Denver. I was saying Denver's very healthy right now.
Yeah, they are.
There's nothing to worry
Denver's
about on Denver's side of the ball.
But honestly, in this one, man, I don't know why. And if you look at the numbers, and obviously the game's not played on paper, I know that like on paper the Broncos are a little bit better. But the Jaguars, I just like the way that they're gelling right now.
Okay,
I'm going to take who is this at? Denver?
You know what? I didn't look up and see where it's at.
That's the deciding factor here.
Let's do that real quick. Because
if they're in Denver, I'm going to say Denver takes it because Denver's a very hard place to play.
Okay.
But if they're if they're in Jacksonville, man, give me the Jags, baby. Duval. I fucking hate that. You know what that slogan is, by the way? No. Duval. I played in Jacksonville earlier this year, and all the local bands.
Isn't that their county? That's just their county, right?
Their
Duval County.
Yeah,
Duval County.
So stupid. That's like us getting another Fulton. Like what? Who gives a shit? Like, come on, you got Jaguars, man. Come up with something cool. Like come up with, I don't know, fucking.
So it looks like it's in Denver.
All right. Well, I'm going to give the edge to Denver, but I'm still going to pick the Jags, man. I'm still going to pick the Jags. I feel good about them right now. I really do. And Denver's due for a loss, dude.
Let me say this. If Denver controls the pace and they have defensive pressure and they limit turnovers, it could go their way. But also, Jacksonville likes to start fast, you know, and they have very explosive plays. They do have red zone efficiency.
Both teams won't be able to run the ball, though. Both of them.
Honestly, this could go either way. Denver wants this to be ugly. Jacksonville wants it to be fast. If this turns into a grinded out game, then I give the advantage to the Broncos. But if this turns into a tempo shootout, advantage Jaguars. And I think you got to think too right now, they're playing in Mile High. It's going to be cold. Yep. You got to acclimate to that. Everything's going to be different. And simply because of that, I'm going to give it to the Broncos.
Okay. Yeah. Give me the Jags, baby. Give me the Jags. I honestly think that this is going to be a moderately low scoring game, to be honest. I bet you neither team scores 20 points.
All right. So, sorry. I got distracted there for a second.
All good.
Going into the next game, this is one that could end up being a good game. I don't see it going either way. I see this game. I see it ending up with a clear victory, depending on who it is. Right now, I'm talking about the Steelers and the Lions. Pittsburgh, like I said, they are in control of the AFC North. They beat the Dolphins 28-15. That win not only keeps them ahead in the division, but also strengthens their playoff positioning with only a handful of games left. We only got 2 games left after this season. I mean,
I
this
think
week
they play the Ravens again, and I think that's why the Ravens aren't necessarily out. But with the Ravens, and Lamar Jackson, the way they're looking, I'm, we'll get to them later. But yeah, I feel good about the Steelers and them making the playoffs right now.
And then also with the Lions can't just show up. Detroit needs wins
They
plus
have to
some
win.
help from other teams. Not only do they need wins, they also need help from other teams to crack the playoff bracket.
They need the Bears to beat the Packers, and then they have to win.
This isn't like meaningless late season game. Both teams need this for their respective postseason hopes. Steelers last game dominant. Lions last game fucking lost to the fucking Rams 41-34, like we said earlier. Showing they can score, but also leak points. And alternating wins and losses have made their season feel like a fucking roller coaster, which it has been. We've been covering the Lions a lot here, and it's absolutely been a roller coaster with the injuries, with the games they should win that they're losing, with the games that they won that they should have lost. It's been it's been very frustrating covering the Lions a little bit. Aaron Rodgers has the experience and the composure to do this, I think. They did have a run defense upgrade, and the defense is forcing a lot of timely stops. Then you have the Lions, who do have an explosive offense that's clicking with Amon-Ra St. Brown and Gibbs as running back. And they've got to protect their home field. They've been better at home than they have been on the road. They exploit any Steelers defensive cracks. But the Steelers, their defense is talented, but it's blew a lot of chunks at times, and giving up too many big plays and points, that's a liability right now, especially at this point in the season. And the Lions, they've got to clean up the losses. And more importantly, they've got to stop inconsistency, like we've been saying. And they're letting close games slip. And last week isn't a good momentum shift.
Yeah, man. No, this is going to be a good one. For the Steelers, it's like both teams really need this. And I think the Lions need it more, because they're sitting on the outside and the Steelers are leading their division. And like I said, I don't feel like the Ravens are really that threatening to them right now. But, let me, if this is in Pittsburgh or if this is in, let's see, or if this is at, let me look here. Okay, no, this is in Detroit, because the Steelers defense is a lot better than they look when they're at home. But when they're on the road, maybe not so much. The Lions offense, they're able to put up points, man. And the Steelers defense on the road, not that great. You got the Lions are top 5 in passing and rushing right now. And the Steelers defense passing wise is 27th and rushing 19. Rushing 19 and going against Jahmyr Gibbs, I don't love that. So, and for the fact that this game means a lot more to the Lions than it does the Steelers. Steelers got a little bit of cushion. The Lions are in arguably the toughest division in the league right now.
Yeah, absolutely they are. So, but also the way they're playing is only making it tougher for them.
Absolutely. But if they're going to at this point get back into the playoff conversation, man, like you said, like either the Bears or the Packers, one of them's going to lose this weekend. They need it to be the Packers. They need it to be the Packers so that they can jump them and get back into it, and the Packers will be on the outside looking in. Yeah. I think that will be what happens, but only if they can take care of business against the Steelers. I think that the Lions are a superior team. They should win this game, especially at home.
I got the Steelers on this one.
Okay. And look, dude, Aaron Rodgers has been better than I thought. I mean,
I got the Steelers on this one.
They did just beat the Dolphins pretty good, and the Dolphins, better than we thought they were, although I think Tua is fucking terrible.
So let's go ahead. Let's keep the ball moving. Let's go ahead and set the stage for Sunday Night Football. So this one's primed to be a heck of a football game with some real playoff implications. It's very much a win or bust for Baltimore as they take on the New England Patriots, who are red hot right now, but they did just have their 10-game winning streak snapped by the Buffalo Bills, who came back from a 21-0 deficit at halftime and then showed who they really were. The Bills won in the playoffs like a motherfucker,
Sure.
but so does
They're hungry.
Baltimore. You got Baltimore, who just came off of a win against the Bengals where they beat them 24-0, and the Joe Burrow woes are being sung loudly. You saw Joe Burrow in that press conference before the game in Baltimore talking about how unhappy he is, talking about if he doesn't even know if he wants to play football anymore. I think all he was trying to do was hint at how unhappy he is with the organization. And when you have a game like that where you get shut out, which shutouts up into this season have been very rare. You keep seeing them happen left and right.
Yeah, we're seeing them
almost
a lot
every week we have a shutout game.
It's been a while that season, dude. All around.
And then ultimately, if you play a game where you're getting shut out, of course you're unhappy. And I think it ultimately boils down to the offensive line, who's letting him get his ass kicked repeatedly for the entire time he's been in the fucking league. So if I was Joe Burrow, I'd be very
it's almost like
too.
The front office doesn't like Joe Burrow. I'm like, why do you keep doing this to me?
Yeah, but in this game, you got the Patriots, who are sitting tall atop the AFC. They're still firmly in the driver's seat. And like I said, they did have a 10-game win streak, which is it's nothing to fucking bat an eye at in the NFL. That's very hard to do. It's hard to do at any level of football, especially when it comes professionally. Right now, you got the Ravens, who are in the playoff bubble. The Ravens are still alive, but they're behind Pittsburgh. They need Pittsburgh to lose, and every remaining game for them is very crucial. There's multiple paths to get in, but there's no room for error. New England is fighting to hold on to a major seed and division edge, and Baltimore must win to keep their playoff hopes alive, and that's the kind of juice that makes for big-time football. So this could turn into a shootout game. You got Lamar Jackson, who's mobile. You got Derrick Henry, who can hammer it in, but you also got Stephon Diggs on the other side of the ball, and you got Drake May, who's looked incredible this entire season. So this could be a recipe for a slow start, kind of in the trenches for the first 2 quarters. And then I see this game turning into an absolute shootout in the third and fourth quarter.
Yeah, I'd like to say that, but I really don't believe Lamar is the guy he was last year. I think that he's still dealing with injury. He has not looked the same since he's come back. The rushing attack for the Ravens is really good. Here's what's going to be interesting in this game. You've got the Ravens, number 3 in rushing attack in the league versus the rushing defense of the Patriots, number 5. So that's going to be one of the biggest challenges that Derrick Henry and the Ravens rushing offense has seen this year.
Because I will tell you this too, you do not have prime Derrick Henry. You don't have young.
And you don't have prime
Titans.
You don't. But you also don't have prime Lamar. And think about those stats I just gave you. Those are full season stats. And for all the games that they miss Lamar, they still have a number 3 rushing offense in the league. That's saying a lot. That being said, I feel like they're a little outmatched by the Patriots. Drake May still in the MVP conversation right now.
Yeah, He's very strong in that conversation too. And in all honesty, I could very well see Drake May take this.
At this point, I mean, let's see how the last few games go. I mean,
to me, it's between Stafford and May. It's between.
I mean, and Josh Allen, he's not done yet. He's not done yet,
but I don't see Josh Allen taking it.
I don't think he has enough weapons to.
The only way I see Josh Allen taking it 2 years in a row is if Buffalo wins the remainder of their games, which Buffalo's about to take on Cleveland, so we can already scratch that. We know what's going to happen there. Right. It would take an act of God for Shedeur Sanders to beat these Bills right now.
I agree,
but for them to win week 17 and 18, it would take that, but it would also take Josh Allen putting up like 300 yards and 40 yards on the ground those 2 games too to be MVP again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. It's still an uphill climb, but with 3 games left, like maybe he can get back in it. Let's see, let's see what Drake May can do. I think that he's kind of in the driver's seat for that right now. Right. And just in my opinion, him and Stafford, obviously, like you said, it's definitely going to come down to that. And both of them seem like they're going to be able to go through the rest of the season doing that. We were talking about what Stafford going against Seattle's defense. Like, I think he's still going to put up monster numbers. I think that he has the better offense around him in general as well. But Patriots, number 6 in passing against the Ravens defense, number 26 in passing. So, and then the Ravens are really bad at passing the ball this year. And again, these are full season stats, and they had all those games without Lamar, but Lamar hasn't looked good. The Ravens have the number 27 passing offense in the league versus the number 15 passing defense for the Patriots. So this is in Baltimore. So But I honestly don't think that matters. I
don't think home
the
field
Patriots
advantage matters in this game.
No, because I think the Patriots are just far and above a better team right now.
Mm-hmm.
So give me the Patriots.
Well,
which I think will effectively knock the Ravens out.
I'll say this: the Patriots, they're cleaner, they're steadier.
Yeah.
But the Ravens at home, they're desperate and physical, and they can absolutely punch back. And if Baltimore's defense keeps biting and Jackson plays smart, this game can at least stay tight. But tight's not going to win you the game. And as much as I would love a dark horse victory right now, I'm going to have to agree and say the Patriots are going to take this one.
Yeah. Yep. I'm with you.
So we do have two more previews that we'll go through very fast. You got the Colts playing the 49ers. They're both bidding for playoff spots. I do see the Colts falling out of this one. It looks like their stock has gone down. I will tell you this though, like if Phillip Rivers gets off the couch and comes out there and takes his team into the playoffs or even further than that, you're gonna see a fucking movie get made about this, and Sandra Bullock's gonna be playing the fucking owner on the sidelines. I don't know who they're going to cast as Phillip Rivers
in any more football movies.
Dude, this is setting the tone for a Oscar-worthy Netflix movie if Phillip Rivers comes out there and creates magic and takes his team into the postseason and even further than that. But I don't see it happening. I don't see the Colts beating the 49ers. I got the 49ers on this one.
Me too. 49ers, they're stacked and still flying under the radar. I feel like they're a team in the NFC that no one's talking about, but like they keep winning. And the amount of injuries that they've gone through this year and not having their starting quarterback for over half the season and losing George Kittle and all these other guys and still being able to do that. And that's another one of those coaches. It's an offensive minded coach, Kyle Shanahan, where it's like, who cares who their offensive coordinator is, because Kyle Shanahan is running his offense, period. Yeah. And what we've seen is it doesn't matter who he has, he's going to be able to do that. Let's talk about the Colts and the Niners. And now the Colts, these stats aren't going to mean as much because they don't have Daniel Jones anymore. So
right.
They got a top 10 passing offense, number 9, but with
so it's not like you can be accurate though, because
Phillip Rivers is not going to deliver these numbers. But the 49ers, between the two quarterbacks that they've had, Mac Jones and now Brock Purdy being back, number 4 in passing. Now, in rushing hasn't been good. They're number 25. Colts have Jonathan Taylor. They're number 6. So, okay.
Mac Jones is somebody the Falcons should
sure. I mean, I don't want to give him full on starter money, but I'd have him come in and then see when Michael Penix becomes healthy again. Like if that's like maybe it'll be a competition for who's going to run this offense. But we'll get to our guys in a bit. But I agree though. Then let's talk about the defense. The Colts rushing defense, number 5. Versus, the 49ers rushing offense, number 25. Clear advantage there. But the Colts
that's literally Jonathan Taylor. That's literally Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, absolutely. That
stat.
But here's the other thing is that the Colts have the second to worst passing defense against the 49ers, who are number 4 in passing. That doesn't look good for them. I think the Colts, I love the Phillip Rivers story, and I'm glad that he came out and was competitive last week.
To their benefit, this game is in Indiana, though. This game is in Indiana, and I don't know if that's going to shake, because you do have Phillip Rivers coming back to his old team at home. It could.
The fans are going to be out there, and they're all going to be. And the Colts, I mean, what a roller coaster of a season they've had.
It's going to shake things up. What did you say? The 49ers run defense is? How do they do against the run?
They're number 12. So not saying they're going to stop Jonathan Taylor. I don't think they will.
Okay. No. That's why I lit up right there. So
but I will say the 49ers are going to have a hard time running the ball.
You got Phillip Rivers, who didn't look terrible out there, and you have Jonathan Taylor, who can definitely show his ass at home on a game that very much matters. So I do see this being a slugfest, but ultimately I think the Colts have too much problems to fix right now, and I do see the 49ers taking this game. But I will say, full transparency, I would love to be proved wrong, because I would love the Cinderella story. I would love the comeback story. I would love to see Phillip Rivers win this game. I just don't see it happening.
Any 49ers fans that are listening to this right now have got to be really annoyed, because you and I feel the same way. Like, I would love to see Phillip Rivers win this, even though like my actual football brain is saying he has absolutely no shot at winning this game. the Colts passing defense being
I'm
as
just worried
bad.
about him getting injured, man. That's really where
Me
I'm
too,
at.
dude. And look, hey, hats off to him. I mean, and the fact that he was actually like had a chance to lead the game-winning drive, like at the end of the game, is amazing. But it was like when I say that he was leading the game-winning drive, it was like an old rusty
But he
Chevy
also didn't
pickup
do it
just
either.
barely trying to get down there, man. Yeah, he didn't have any like big throws or anything. I don't know how much he has in him for that. Like maybe that game he's knocking the rust off. Like maybe we get to see him do something. But I just think that just the Niners offense versus the Colts defense is going to be very hard for Phillip Rivers to keep up with, because I don't think he's going to be able to lean on Jonathan Taylor enough to run the clock and waste clock by running the ball constantly. Like if you're going to beat this 49ers team, you got to be able to pass.
Mm-hmm. All right. Yeah. I agree. And another game I don't really want to spend too much time on. I just want to quickly say the Buccaneers and the Panthers are fighting for the number one spot in the NFC South, which is an abysmal fucking division this season. It's odd too, because both of these teams are coming off losses. The Buccaneers somehow lost to the fucking Falcons, and the Panthers lost to the Saints. Even with that being said, I feel like the Buccaneers are bleeding out worse than the Panthers are, and I see the Panthers taking this game.
I want the Panthers to take this game. Let me look at where they're playing, because I'm not sure. Oh, it's in Carolina. Carolina's hard to beat at home, man. In fact, the only time they got their ass beat at home this season was against the Bills.
Yeah.
And, here's another thing is that, Carolina's got, not that they've like beaten a lot of good teams, but you remember they beat the Rams, right? Mm-hmm. Have the Bucs really beaten anybody like that good this year?
No, nobody really worth. No.
I mean, they couldn't beat the Eagles. I mean,
they almost beat the Eagles, but they didn't.
They almost did, yeah. Baker threw that pick at the end of the game, and again, I feel like the Eagles were trying to give them that game. But yeah, man. I mean, the Bucs they're in trouble, man, and they're going to be a trouble watch team for me because of how they looked against the Falcons. It just seems like Todd Bowles isn't making the best decisions when it comes to shutting out games or closing out games. Panthers at home they're a hard team to beat. Like you and I were talking about earlier. I don't know if we had started the show at the time, but we were saying like basically whoever wins the NFC South is going to get their ass beat. I do firmly believe that. But let's look at their stats, because they're pretty closely evenly matched. I mean, I do say that, like, I will say that Bryce Young, depending on what kind of day he's going to have, because he's a very Jekyll and Hyde quarterback. Like some day he comes out there and he looks like ass, and then some days he comes out there and he looks like fucking Johnny Unitas.
Yeah, dude, it's wild, dude. I don't fucking get it.
So, the passing game, they're pretty evenly matched. Bucks number 20, Panthers number 25. Rushing, here's a big difference. Bucks 21, Panthers 9. Panthers have two badass running backs, Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle. But the Bucks were missing Bucky Irving for a while. I thought he was pretty good against the Falcons last week.
But he's back.
And he's catching balls in the flat. He's running up the middle. So, maybe that stat doesn't really mean that much.
I think everybody is just as shocked as we are that the Falcons won that fucking game. A game that doesn't matter that they won. It doesn't mean a goddamn thing that they won that game. All it does is fuck things up for Tampa Bay a little bit.
Which I like. I like it, dude. Let me tell you this.
What are we doing at this point?
Because this
what are we doing at this point? We literally played our best game of the season on a Thursday night football game that doesn't fucking matter.
And Kyle Pitts played the game of his life. But
that's the best game Kyle Pitts is ever going to play.
Probably.
Actually, I take that back. Kyle Pitts is, and we will get to Kyle Pitts at the end of this episode.
Sure.
But Kyle Pitts, I'm telling you, and I'll dig into it deeper. Kyle Pitts has been asleep this entire season, and now they're out of the playoffs. I think Kyle Pitts is doing nothing more than trying to gain attention for other teams to come and fucking get him. I think that's all the fuck he's doing.
Very well
right
could
now.
be. Very well could.
Because if you could play like that, what the fuck were you doing all season?
Also, though, man, this is kind of an interesting thing. Like, I think every time Kyle Pitts plays in Florida, he does really well. And he played at University of Florida. Yeah. So he's like when he plays the Bucks, like in Florida, he's good. So I, if I were him, look at Jacksonville. Go play in Jacksonville. Go play in Miami or something.
Jacksonville could actually use him.
Jacksonville could really use him. That would be a really good signing for him.
Jacksonville is a program that could actually use Kyle Pitts for what he is.
Sure.
But honestly, I want to say this. I'm sorry we're getting off the rails. You know what?
We're going to come back to the Bucks and Panthers.
We'll come back. We'll come back to it. What I want to say is I feel like Kyle Pitts would benefit greatly well from, should I save this till the end? No, I'm already saying it.
Just say, yeah.
Kyle Pitts would do greatly well if he transitioned from tight end to wide receiver. You
Kind of
want
like
to know
he did
why?
on Thursday night.
Because he's not a tight end.
Mm-mm.
He is not a fucking tight end. He's just a really tall receiver. You know why he's not a tight end? Because he doesn't play tight end. He doesn't do what a tight end is supposed to do when he's in position to be a tight end. What he can do is go out there and be a receiver. So scratch him as tight end off of your depth chart and put him in as receiver and find someone else to play tight end, because Kyle Pitts is not a tight end.
I agree with you 100% there. 100% there. But we'll talk more about Kyle Pitts and his future with the Falcons, or if there is a future, but let's talk a little.
Anyways, I got the Panthers winning this game.
Okay. Well, I got something to say about the Panthers and the Bucks, because I have a good friend who lives in Charleston who, he doesn't follow football like you and I do. He said some dumb shit to me, like whenever the Panthers beat the Falcons in overtime, he's like, Falcons are 1 year away, man. I'm like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, because we're in hell. No. But anyways, he texted me Thursday night. Yeah, he
1 year away from what?
Yeah, right. 1 year away from
we're
tanking
10
for
years
a draft
away
pick.
at best.
Yeah, no shit. So, anyways, he texted me and he's like, "Man, I'm really hoping you guys rise up tonight. Like, Panthers fans really want you guys to beat the Bucks." And I was like, "Don't get your hopes up, dude, because we're in fucking hell. I don't see it happening at all. We were wrong." And then after the game, it's like he's like, "Man, you were wrong, and I'm glad you were wrong. Like, rise up. Thanks for beating the Bucks for us." And all the Panthers fans on Twitter are all getting excited, because now the path for us to win the division is there, and we're in control of it and all that. And then they go and lose to the Saints.
Yeah.
The Bucks and the Panthers have lost to the Saints. We're the only division guys that have beaten the Saints this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
So actually, no, maybe the Bucks did beat them earlier in the year. I might be wrong about that. Or no, maybe they have to play them again. I'm not sure. Anyways, doesn't matter. Like, you lost to the Saints, and the Bucks needed to beat the Saints 2 weeks ago. The Panthers needed to beat the Saints this weekend. They didn't help themselves in either one of those. Bucks certainly shouldn't have lost to the Falcons on Thursday.
I mean, dude, we have 2 500 teams fucking fighting for the top spot of a division.
And the Falcons aren't good enough to compete with that.
I've never heard of this happening. I've never heard of this happening.
Welcome
before.
to the NFC South, man. We've been a shitty division the last teams. 5 years, man. And the Bucks have won it the last 4. I don't want to see them win it a 5th time, honestly. And I'm no fan of Carolina, but let's shake things up. Fuck the Bucks. Give me the Panthers. I think that their rushing attack's just going to be, especially at home, is going to be a little too much for Tampa to handle. I don't think that Baker has looked that good over the last 4 or 5 weeks. I know they're getting guys back. I know Mike Evans is back. He was still catching balls and he was still clowning on guys on Thursday, but just not sure that's going to be enough.
Let's also. Oh fuck, we'll save it.
They play, but the Bucks and Panthers, they play each other twice before the end of the season. So this is going to be a fun one to keep an eye on as far as like what's going to happen in the NFC South. But after that, once someone inevitably wins this division, whether they want to or not, because I think both teams are mediocre, they ain't doing shit in the playoffs.
No, it's kind of like you're in a situation where like somebody's got to win the division.
Mm-hmm.
Like somebody's got to do it.
Someone's got to do it, man. Someone's got to do it.
But one last game we'll preview before we go into the Treble Watch, which also, as we've been doing this conversation, my Treble Watch has been changing. I've actually taken 2 teams off of Treble Watch, and now my Treble Watch only has 2 teams on it, which is fine. No big deal, which is fine. But one game we have to preview, as much as it pains me, we got to talk about the Falcons versus Cardinals, which is a game that doesn't matter, won't matter.
2 mediocre ass teams, but
I honestly think the Falcons are going to somehow win this game because you don't got Kyler Murray, you don't got James Conner, you got the Falcons who all of a sudden, when wins don't matter, decide they want to fucking win. You got Kyle Pitts who all of a sudden wants to go out there and show everybody what he's capable of when he hasn't done it since we fucking drafted him. But then he has the game of his lifetime. I honestly think he's trying to get the attention of other fucking teams. Bijan Robinson is going to go out there and look great. Drake London's supposed to come back this game. I don't know why. Drake London, you need to sit home
I agree with you on
this entire fucking. You don't need to come out here. What are you going to risk a re-injury for? You had a PCL sprain. Fucking don't risk it again. Stay home. Wait till next year.
Especially a game that's still winnable, like for the Falcons without him. The Cardinals suck.
Cardinals suck. And I mean, honestly, I don't know how much time we need to spend on this. I think somehow the Falcons are going to edge out a fucking victory. But I mean, the one thing that could go
They're going to
against
do it
them
to save
is
Raheem's job.
I don't
Watch.
know. I don't know what happened, what was going on last weekend. I think that was the most penalties the Falcons have ever had in an entire
19
game.
in a game. I think it's like the
19
first time we've
penalties,
seen that in like fucking over 25 years or something, and
which
somehow
is
still win.
absolutely insane.
Which I think
And
says
then they
more
go
about the
on to
Bucks
win.
than it does the Falcons. I really do.
Yeah. So that could be the only thing that could really kill the Falcons in this game is fucking penalties. Other than that, dude, like I don't see them losing to Arizona, which is crazy to say. But like when you look at the rest of the schedule, like I all of a sudden these games look like winnable games. It's just like I wish you could have won 2 or 3 more games that we could have won back when the fucking season actually mattered. But it's
Hey,
too late for that shit
let's
now.
talk Trouble Watch real quick, and then we'll do a little deep dive into the state of the Falcons and what stage of Dante's
All right.
Inferno hell that they're in.
All right. So now it is time to dive into a segment that everybody loves. This is a listener favorite. This is the Trouble Watch. But like I said, I removed a couple of teams from the Trouble Watch because originally I had the Steelers on here. I don't think I'm going to put the Steelers in Trouble Watch anymore. And I also had Carolina Panthers on here. But honestly, I see the Carolina Panthers taking the NFC South, so I'm going to take them off. But one team I am going to talk about, it's going to be the Baltimore Ravens. And there's a core issue here, and it's finishing games instead of surviving them. Yes, they beat down the Bengals, but the Bengals have so many locker room troubles, have so many offensive line troubles. The Bengals are not playing football right now. They're just going out there because their contract says they have to. You're not going against an opponent when you're playing the Bengals. So don't take anything home from that game. They have late game offensive aggression. The Ravens get conservative with a lead, and that's costing them. Sitting on the ball invites pressure and stacked boxes and stalled drives. They have bad turnover timing. They have receiver consistency that they need to work on. And bottom line, Baltimore is still dangerous, but they're flirting with self-inflicted losses. Clean execution late turns them into contenders again. We'll see if they can do that. We'll see what they do against the Steelers. Or not the Steelers, the Patriots. We'll see what happens.
It's gonna be a tough one for them.
But honestly, the Baltimore Ravens are very much in trouble right now, and their troubles did come all because of the Lamar Jackson injury. Granted, with how he's been playing,
I feel like they're still dealing with.
Yeah, and granted, with how he's been playing this season, I don't know if I feel like if he was healthy, they might have a little bit more of a cushion going into the playoffs. But right now, it literally is a win or go home situation. So they are very much in trouble. The second team, and the only other team I have on this right now, since I dwindled it down a little bit, is the Dallas Cowboys. Their consistency when the spotlight is the brightest is really what's killing them. Right now, they are second in their division, but they're in second by a lot. Like they are a strong second. They're not a competing second team right now. They are in second place and losing to a team like the Vikings, who are out of the playoffs. Everything they're doing when Dak is under pressure, his protection just completely breaks down. They need more defensive discipline, like we've been saying this whole time. And these are things that if they don't fix, they need to kiss their playoff. They need to kiss the playoffs goodbye because they're not going to get there.
I agree. I think the Cowboys, their hopes are dismal at best.
The Cowboys are good enough to make noise, but only if they stop beating themselves. And discipline and execution is going to be what they have to do moving forward. And with the way they've been playing, with the defense they have, I don't think they're disciplined enough to do what they have to do to move forward into the playoffs.
Well, they're on Trouble Watch because right now, they're not eliminated, but they have a less than 1% chance to make the playoffs. And I think that has a lot to do with the Eagles.
I think after this week, they're not in the playoffs anymore.
Yeah, no way in hell. Even if they are to win their game this week, which I, don't think they will. In fact, unless I said earlier that they were, I forget who they're playing, but it doesn't matter. Who are the Cowboys playing again? Let me see here. We got. Oh, they're playing the Chargers.
Yeah. Chargers.
Yeah. Cowboys. They're in big trouble. But I want to.
This is the end of the road for the Cowboys if they don't win this game.
It's do or die. Absolutely.
End of the road.
And I don't think they're in control of their own destiny. The Eagles got to lose. Like they have to lose games. They might have to lose all their games.
They're not going to lose against the Commanders. They're not going to lose.
No,
against the
I think the
Commanders.
Eagles are one win away from wrapping up that
honesty,
division. So
in all
Cowboys
honesty, with this being as far as we are in the season, even if the Cowboys win, they're going to be in the same situation as Minnesota, and I think this is the end of the road for the Cowboys.
I got one more trouble watch team, and it's the Tampa Bay
Go
Buccaneers.
for it. Oh God, yes.
I mean, because you took Carolina off and
to replace them with the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I say the Buccaneers, man. Like Carolina, even if they were to lose this next game, they still have a shot because they're playing them again. So, and you know, we were saying a week or two ago that Tampa has a better, like they have an easier schedule to end the season. And one of those games that made it easier was that they got to play the Falcons again, and they lost at home. So playing in Carolina next, like if Carolina gets you there, now they've got the advantage. They got the upper hand. You have to win out at that point. Yeah, to me, the Bucs are in real trouble, and it's getting down to the wire. And if they survive this game, I'm not sure.
I feel like we're about to see the Buccaneers season end.
I feel like we will too.
No. I think this is a season ender for them.
Yeah.
But now, all right.
Okay.
So are you ready for this? Because now
is
the time. I am going to guide you through some talking points I have about our Atlanta Falcons and what needs to change and what we need to do. This is the point of the show where these Miller Lights start to get very empty, where my words start slurring because I can only find comfort in Miller Lite and Jeremy.
I turned to an angry drunk.
But let's talk about this. Me and Jeremy are going to guide you through this. So first things fucking first, coaching. This staff is not it. Full stop. You got Raheem Morris. Let me say this about Raheem Morris. Raheem Morris is a good leader of men. Players like him. And that's nice, but unfortunately, this is the NFL. This isn't a company picnic. This isn't an office job. People don't need to like and respect you. You need to turn games into wins, and you're not doing that. You have zero offensive identity, no visible development plan for Michael Penix. There wasn't one, and look, he ended up getting hurt.
They had a plan, but they abandoned it in year one.
Yeah, absolutely they did. The weekly game plans that they have, they look reactive. You don't look prepared. You look like you're reacting. You look like you're out there playing Madden, and you're fucking losing at it.
Yep.
The team consistently looks flat or confused out of halftime. They come back out of halftime and they're like, okay, coach, what do we do next? And he doesn't have the fucking answer for them. And
terrible clock management as well.
If you drafted a quarterback at 8 overall and don't know how to build an offense around him, that's a fireable offense by itself.
Yeah.
Raheem's ceiling is a bridge coach. That's the best thing he can possibly be. He's not a culture changer. He's not a schematic edge, and he's not a long-term answer. He has to fucking go.
Yeah.
My next point, Zach Robinson. This one's not even fucking debatable. He refused. He refused to put Penix under center for most of his starts. He over-relied on shotgun and slow developing concepts. He didn't simplify reads for a rookie quarterback, which, he played last season. No, he's a fucking rookie. Shut the fuck up. Yeah. He doesn't know what he's doing out there in the NFL.
4 games last season?
There's no commitment to play action despite having Bijan, and whether Penix couldn't run the offense or Robinson didn't trust him, both answers are damning. If you don't trust your quarterback, why did you draft him? So he should have been fired fucking yesterday. And then you got special teams with missed assignments, poor field position, zero advantage has been gained all seasons. Special teams should be invisible when they're good, and they should be loudly noticeable when they're bad. And guess which one Atlanta's being right now? They are being so loudly noticeable, but they're one of the laughing stocks of the fucking league. So special teams, fucking gone.
And Marquise Williams still has a job.
Yeah. Get out of here.
The worst special teams unit in the league.
And now it gets to the point, Joey, who replaces him? Well, you need experience. You don't need another bright young mind who hasn't led a team before. You need to look at these. These are the head. I wrote these down. These are the head coach targets that are realistic. Ben Johnson, the Lions offensive coordinator. You can get some control out of him. You can get Bobby Slowick, the Texas offensive coordinator. Yeah. But I'm saying let's circle back to it. Let's circle back to it.
You're talking about who we interviewed and said no to and picked Raheem Morris. No.
Yeah, we're circling back to some people. Let's look at Bobby Slowick, the Texans OC.
Yep.
He's a proven quarterback developer. Let's look at Brian Flores. If you want somebody who uses accountability and has teeth, let's look at that guy. Then if you want for offensive coordinator, you need someone who's actually developed a quarterback under center before. You need somebody from the Shanahan tree who doesn't have the Shanahan fucking ego, and you need play action heavy and run first philosophy. That's what you fucking need going forward with the head coaching. I don't want to hear any other fucking argument about it.
Yeah. And look, I'm saying if we fire Raheem, I want Clint Kubiak from Seattle. Their offensive coordinator. I want him. I want an offensive coach for the same reasons that I told you earlier. Because if you have an offensive-minded head coach like Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, Ben Johnson, Clint Kubiak could be that guy for us. Who can, look what he's doing with Sam Darnold and Seattle. I definitely want that. Then
lights
it doesn't.
Out, and it's Sam Darnold. Who did you
right.
just say? Sam Darnold. Being lights out. Who else is playing well? Caleb Williams. Who does he have? Who else is playing fucking well right now?
It doesn't matter who Kyle Shanahan.
What about
has.
Drake May? What about Drake May, who's damn near a rookie? Look at how good he's doing. Didn't we interview that guy? What the fuck?
Yeah,
are
but
we
Mike
doing
Vrabel's a defensive guy, but still, he's doing a hell of a job. And these are all people that we said no, that's not good enough. We like Raheem, which to me is insane. But my biggest fear is winning this Tampa game.
Which goes back to what I'm saying. It's okay to like a guy. It's okay to like a guy. Jeremy, I like you. I love you. You're like a brother to me, but there's a lot of things in my life I wouldn't trust you with. I'm not going to have you babysit my kids.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And I'm sure as hell not going to let you coach my football team. Raheem Morris is the losingest head coach in the NFL right now for his entire coaching career. Out of all the NFL coaches, of all the NFL head coaches right now, Raheem Morris has lost more games, or he has the worst record out of every single one of them.
And we hired him with a smile.
Oh, yeah. No, man, he's good for the culture. Whatever the fuck that means, dude. I'm tired of that shit. Show me the X's and O's. Show me the results. Show me that this guy can go and win games. Don't show me that, he was a decent defensive coordinator on a Super Bowl team that had Aaron Donald.
Why is he good for the Atlanta culture? How should I interpret it? What do you mean by he's good for the culture? Oh, he's a nice guy? What is that supposed to mean? Dude?
Was Arthur Blank going for like, hey, I want to be the guy that hired a black NFL head coach in a league where they say that we don't have enough black NFL coaches, and it's like, as cool as that is, man, and how, like, I get it, but that should not be why we're hiring coaches. It needs to be based off of results, and I haven't seen them.
If you wanted to do that, there are plenty of black coaches in the NFL who are very good, who we could have targeted if you just wanted to hire a black head coach. Because when you say he's good
Raheem
for the culture,
was the wrong one.
When you say he's good for the culture, that unfortunately is what you make it sound like. That's what you're saying without saying it. And that in itself is deplorable.
Wrong. It's just wrong. Like, even if you're doing it to be, very progressive and all that stuff, it's just like, that's just not the way that you can run your business, man. And it's almost like insulting to other black head coaches.
Listen,
you're
man,
like, really?
I don't
that was
care.
the only reason why you interview me. Like,
I don't care
whoever
what
this
color. I don't care what color the head coach is: purple, green, blue, black, white, brown. I don't care what race they are, where they come from, as long as they can win me a fucking game. If you want to be progressive and for the culture, how about we turn this into a winning culture? Right. How about we do that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's all I care about. And I think that Arthur Blank needs to stop listening to whoever he's been listening to, Rich McKay, and all of their friends. He's got to stop listening to them.
Also, at the same time, I think we're getting to the point where Terry Fontenot's got to go.
Yeah, I think you got to clean house. And again, I've said that I was happy with this last year's draft, and I'm not that mad about trading away the first round pick. It sucks because the team has been so bad, and normally that's your silver lining. Like, even my friend who I told you doesn't know that much about football said that the Falcons are 1 year away, and he was saying like, "Hey, beat the Bucks, man. We need you guys to beat the Bucks." And I was like, "It ain't gonna fucking happen because we suck." And he's like, "Okay, well, tank for a draft pick." And I was like, "We can't even do that.
We can't do that. You really don't know anything about
that
football."
Sucks. But I do believe that if James Pierce was in next year's draft, he would be the top drafted pass rusher in that draft. And so we basically already got that. And I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that. And James Pierce is the best pass rusher to come out of that draft. And we took Jalen Walker ahead of him, which Jalen Walker is a top 5 defensive rookie this year. So I'm not upset about that. It's everything else. It's the Kyle Pitts pick. It's even the Bijan
We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that.
Yeah.
We're going to get to that.
But
because
go ahead, man. Because I think I've said everything I can say about. Well, no, let me say one more thing about Raheem Morris. Let me say one more thing, because this is really troubling to me, and I've seen it coming all season long. That we get to the end of the season, and yeah, you beat Tampa Bay, maybe you beat Arizona, maybe you beat the Saints again, and then you look at like our we had I think we've had
all of a sudden we should keep Raheem.
Well, here's what they're going to say, man. And this is fucking nightmare fuel for me, because I already know that this is going to get said. We've had 5 one-possession losses this season. That, one possession loss could have gone your way. Lost a couple in overtime, lost in overtime to the Patriots, lost in overtime to, and that was a missed kick. You lost in overtime to the Colts. You lost in overtime to the Panthers. You lost on a missed kick to the Bucs at the beginning of the season. If those things went our way, or half of those things went our way, we could be talking about a completely different season. But that's not enough for me. It's not enough for me. I haven't seen enough from Raheem to change anything, and I certainly haven't seen enough from Zach Robinson's offense. And look at what Kirk Cousins has done. What he did this week.
I'm about to get to him.
He looked great, man. And the way that he led that final drive and 3rd and 28, and he finds David Sills on 4th and 14 on the final drive to keep it going. And, part of that is Todd Bowles made a bad decision where he accepted a penalty to make it 3rd and 28 when it would have just made it 4th down and 18 or whatever, or whatever it was going to be. But like he basically gave us another shot, which is all we needed. And Kirk Cousins is finding receivers that Michael Penix could not even see out of his fucking, his tunnel vision that was only Bijan and only Drake London. And Kirk Cousins is out there doing it with Bijan and a bunch of nobodies.
Yeah.
Against Tampa, who, is really fighting for their lives in the division. I'm done with the whole like Raheem thing, but what they're going to do is they're going to sit down with him and be like, all right, Raheem, we see that, with just a few little tweaks here and there and a little bit of better luck, like we're going to win this division and we're going to have a contender. And it's like, no, we're not. We can't have Kirk Cousins here next year. We can't. It's going to be $26 million cap hit.
Because my second point is the quarterback situation, because this situation is a mess. You got Michael Penix, who's injured. He's going to miss significant time.
Yeah.
His development timeline is now delayed at least a year.
And I'm not convinced he's that good when he comes back, man.
No. And this matters because rookie quarterbacks don't just lose reps. They lose confidence. They lose rhythm, and they lose trust in the staff. And if this staff is still around when he comes back, you're fucking wasting him. And then let's move on to Kirk Cousins, and let's be brutally honest. He's got problems. He's older. He came off of a major injury in Minnesota before Atlanta signed him. He has limited mobility. The cap hit is absolutely fucking disgusting.
Thanks, Terry Fontenot.
His trade value is almost non-existent. Nobody is going to give you a real asset for Kirk Cousins in 2026 because there's salary cap reality. You're not free from Kirk Cousins anytime soon without some real significant pain. The options is to eat dead cap, and that hurts roster building. You keep him, and that blocks Penix's reps, or you trade him, which is almost impossible unless Atlanta eats a fuck ton of money. So the bottom line is Kurt's contract is an anchor in this team. And now, do the Falcons need a bridge quarterback? Absolutely. But you can't rush Penix. You can't rely on Cousins, and you can't go into 2026 with zero plan. So there's realistic options. There's somebody who's kind of like Jacoby Brissett, somebody who's kind of like Gardner Minshew, and just a veteran who knows he's a placeholder. And now people want to talk. Everyone wants to come to me and be like, oh, Joey, didn't you hear that Joe Burrow is so upset, blah, blah, blah. Joe Burrow, let's kill that fantasy immediately. The Falcons can't afford him. The Falcons can't afford him. The Bengals would demand an absolute fucking ransom for him. And the cap situation makes it impossible without gutting the entire roster. So it's great bar talk. It's great talk to have behind a couple of Miller Lights and talk about how great it would be to get Joe Burrow. It's not going to fucking happen. It's not real life.
Yeah, no, you're 1,000% correct, because if we go out and get Joe Burrow, say goodbye to drafting in the first round ever again. And I don't think that answers all of our problems as much as I would love to have Joe Burrow. I really would. I do think he's a fantastic quarterback, one of the best in the league, one of the best we've seen in the last 10 years, I'd say. But that's not the answer. And I do think that he would be semi-successful with our offensive line the way that it's constructed right now, especially Caleb McGarry coming back next year. But I'm not sold on Michael Penix. I'm not. I don't really want to hand them the keys. And I've seen a lot of people, saying that I'm, an idiot for saying this, but like, I don't think we ever should have gone away from Kirk Cousins. And I think we mismanaged that whole situation. And he
Absolutely,
did too.
we did.
Because he lied about getting injured in that Saints game. Had he been honest about it and had he trusted that the team, and I don't know the team would have done this, but this is hindsight talking, by the way. They should have gone to Kirk and said, listen, man, we know you're injured. You're not going to lose your job because you're injured, but you're losing us games. We got to put the rookie in. And maybe win a couple more of those games, and then Kirk can still come back next season, at the beginning of this season, and Zach Robinson can actually have a quarterback under center. But something that I also, a scenario that I run in my head is, let's say we do clean house on the coaching staff, and God willing, I hope we do. A new offensive coordinator comes in, and Michael Penix is back at training camp, or he won't be at training camp, but like when he does get healthy and he's back like practicing with the team, and they say, all right, we're going to run you under center, and he goes, oh, I can't. I hope that offensive coordinator has the balls to say, then you can't start for this team.
Play. Then you're not playing.
Period.
Because that's something I've never been clear on. And it's something that, of course, they're not going to talk about. Raheem kind of hinted towards it after Cousins came out and won.
He said, you do what your QB can do.
But I don't know if the play calling just wasn't correct or if he purely cannot play under center, because like I've said before, he wasn't doing it in college. But also when you get to the NFL, if you have the proper coaching, somebody can come up to you and be like, hey, kid, this is how we play here. This is what I need you to learn. And until you're able to do this, we're going to keep developing you, and our veterans going to keep playing. Maybe that's what oh my God, that's what a real coach would have did. And maybe the Falcons should have fucking did that.
That was the whole plan. That's why you got two QBs and you use massive assets to get them. One was $180 million with $100 million guaranteed, and one was your top 10 draft pick. You got both of them so that you had this plan to develop him. And you didn't do that. You abandoned that quickly because Raheem Morris is that he's just not solid in the way that he's doing it. Dude.
So he's your homie, bro. What more do you need than a good friend?
You're right, man. Yeah, as long as I can go have a beer at the bar with my head coach and we can have some laughs and we can talk about the good old days and all that.
He got my kids these fucking badass birthday presents, bro.
Yeah, man. Yeah, what a great guy. Love him.
Third point. I got to bring this up to you. Kyle Pitts is the most frustrating player on this fucking team. He is the definition of wasted potential. The problem is he disappears for weeks. He doesn't do a goddamn thing for weeks. He's got inconsistent effort. He's got very poor chemistry with the quarterbacks, and he plays so fucking soft for his size. Then suddenly, after the season is dead, he explodes against Tampa. This doesn't impress
one of the best tight end games that we've seen in the NFL, like in the last 5 years.
This game does not impress anybody. All it does is scream, look at me. And then you got to look at his trade value reality, because with him screaming, look at me, it's obviously looks like that's what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
But the harsh truth is this: if Pitts had real value, like you said 2 weeks ago, somebody would have called and nobody did. Teams don't trade for what you were. They trade for what you are. You don't get a first. You probably won't get a second. And can the Falcons trade him? Yeah, but it's going to be selling low. You're realistically looking at a mid-round pick or a player for player swap. And really what you would do is you would try to trade him for somebody that is a tight end. And why would they trade away something they already have that they don't need? And then you're going to keep him and hope that a new staff unlocks him. But the actual verdict is this: if a new coaching staff comes in and tries to work with him, you give him 1 more year. And if nothing changes, you move on. But don't pretend he's untouchable, because he's fucking not.
Yeah, no, dude, I'm 1,000% with you. And the thing, so this is, I think, the last year of his contract. So the only thing the Falcons can do is hit him with a franchise tag. And I don't know who else they would hit with a franchise tag, but only if they felt like he was worth the franchise tag, because it's going to cost us an assload of money. I don't think it's enough to like really fuck us, because next year is going to be another rebuilding year.
Why do you think he's all of a sudden showing out right now? Why do you think he's all of a sudden showing out right now?
Yeah, he's playing for a new contract, but the franchise tag he doesn't have a choice on. So you can franchise tag him, and then say he does build his value for the rest of the season. You can franchise tag him and then trade him. So that's a scenario. If like he did build his value up enough, and like say someone like Kansas City says like, yo, we got to get back in this. And like, let's go out and say Travis Kelce's going to retire. I don't think he is, but let's say he does. Maybe someone like that you can get to give you some assets. But Kansas City's never going to have like great
They are two
draft
completely
assets.
different tight ends. Because the thing is, Travis Kelce actually blocks, and that's the thing, man.
Hall of Fame tight end.
Kyle Pitts does not play his position. He plays receiver. He doesn't play tight end, dude. He just fucking doesn't, and it bothers the shit out of me. If I was his head coach, I would have been working on him in development, or I would have cut him 2 years ago. I swear to God.
Oh yeah. No, I feel the same way, man. And I felt like for a while that Kyle Pitts is just is like you said, wasted potential over here. And
but he's some reason untouchable because Atlanta fans have the memory of a goldfish, because they're going to see games like Thursday night and talk about how great Kyle Pitts is, and he might even have 1,000 yards this season. He might end the season with 1,000 yards, and it's like, cool. All he's doing is padding his stats, but he's not winning us games, and he's not doing anything that means a fuck out there. He's not, because let's look at that game Thursday night. Wow, he had 3 touchdowns. He did all this, but let's talk about the fact that Michael Penix, who by all means isn't that great of a quarterback, would put the ball in his fucking hands just for him to fucking drop it. Do y'all remember that, Atlanta?
Yeah.
Do y'all remember that happening? Yeah. But you want to talk about how he's a fucking unicorn, how he's the greatest tight end, how he's this, that, and the other? Like, no, he's not. You guys have such a short-term memory because it's been so exhausting being an Atlanta Falcons fan for so long that you grab straws and look for anything to be happy about instead of looking at the reality of the fucking situation.
Yeah, I was talking about it at the bar this weekend, and people were like, well, dude, look at the game he had on Thursday. I'm like, watch any other game that he's played in. Like, one good game doesn't do it for me. And same thing with Kirk Cousins. One good game doesn't do it for me. What is every other game you're doing? Because I have said that, like, Kirk Cousins has looked better than we did with Michael Penix, and a lot of it has to do with playing under center and all that. And I stand behind that. But at the same time, it's like, look how he played against the Dolphins. Look how he played against the Panthers when Penix got injured. He looked like shit. You know, so it's like I can't base any of this shit off of one game. You go out next year, you get someone like Jacoby Brissett or Mac Jones, but the thing is that about Mac Jones is that he had enough success this season that he's going to command a decent contract.
He's going to cost some fucking money.
Yeah, so like you better be confident and you better be willing to let him compete for the starting job with Michael Penix and not just sit there and tell Penix like, well, we spent that top 10 draft pick on you, so we're committed on giving you the job. Like, fuck that. Everything needs to be competitive. You know, they didn't do that with the kicking position to start the season, which they should have done. They told Koo, don't worry, man. I know you were the worst kicker in the league last year, but the job is yours. Don't worry. We can't do that. We can't do that with Bijan. We can't do that with Drake London. We can't do that with Penix. We can't do that with our kicker. You just can't. You know, you need people to fight. We need survival of the fittest of who's going to be the best player to come out for this organization. A lot of guys get signed, and sometimes the guy that costs more money isn't as good as the guy that's behind him. So let's go get him, you know, or whatever. Like, let them compete for it, but also have a little bit of consistency of what your plan is. You know, like, I don't think and I know this sounds contrary to what I just said about like, it doesn't matter how much the quarterback costs, but it's like, when you're trying to develop a rookie quarterback and you have a veteran guy and the whole fucking plan is to let him develop under him, let him develop under him. Instead, now he's torn his ACL again. Yeah. And now you may have ruined his NFL career. We don't know yet. You may have.
He's kind of proven at this point just to be a fucking liability.
Yeah.
It sucks. But speaking of the draft, now there's something we got to dig into because there's no first round pick. So that means there's no margin for error. So the Rams are going to enjoy that pick, and that's painful, but it's true. So what does Atlanta do now? Well, here's the priorities. Defensive line, and mainly because you can't rely on blitzing forever, and the pass rush has been pretty inconsistent. Then you got the offensive line depth.
Although I will say it's better. It's been way better than it has in recent years. I'm not worried about the pass rush. I am worried about the run defense.
Well, I'm also worried about the offensive line depth because you got to protect Penix long term if he's going to be the guy going for you, especially with how riddled he is with injuries. Yeah. And then you got to worry about wide receivers because you need separation, not just size. And Drake London can't do it all himself.
Drake London's the only guy that I care about having on this team next year as far as wide receivers.
And then you also got to worry about corners and safeties because the defense lacks playmakers. So this draft has to be about cheap contributors.
And Jesse Bates ain't going to be here that long. I don't know if he's going to be here next year. I'm not sure what his contract is, but like he's already been here for
not just that
third year.
Not just Jesse Bates. We're at the point now where you got to worry about star players wanting to be out, and don't be shocked because losing teams with no quarterback clarity, that equals locker room rot. So guys want stability, direction, and a chance to win. And in Atlanta, you're not fucking getting that. And there's also completely organizational failure. This isn't one bad year. This is years of half measures. no win now contracts, rebuild draft picks, conflicting timelines. You got to pick a direction that you want to get it behind.
Oh, yeah.
So the coaching staff gone. Quarterback room is unstable and expensive. Kyle Pitts, thin ice. Draft, no room to screw up. Future depends entirely on the next head coach. This franchise doesn't need hope. It needs fucking competence. And right now, if you're an Atlanta fan, you need to stop with all this optimism and you need to be fucking pissed off.
I agree, man. And you know what? I want to dedicate this rant section about the Falcons to Ray McLeod and
Miller Lite.
You know, like if you see like Ray when he was saying like all of his shit, you know, it was kind of vague, but you knew what he was talking about. He was talking about Raheem's leadership and all that. Like everyone that liked his post on X and on Instagram are current Falcons players. What does that tell you? They all know it's true.
Yeah.
They all like, and I know they came out and won, and I'm sure they feel good about winning against Tampa Bay. And then, you know, when I was watching the game at the end,
what are you winning
did you see like Raheem like getting fired up like in front of the camera? I was like, sit the fuck down, Raheem, man. Your ass is
I think it's at the point where Falcons players, you need to make a point be proven. Go out there and play like trash on purpose. Don't show up. Don't like fucking revolt.
Kyle Pitts is going to though, man, because he's got dollar signs in his eyes. I don't
show up to practice. Don't show up to practice. Let it be known. Maybe
let Arthur Blank know that like
his
star players aren't going to they're not going to accept this bullshit. You know?
Yeah, because I'm not going to accept it anymore. I'm telling you, dude, I'm Atlanta as fuck. I'm covered in Atlanta tattoos. I've lived in Atlanta my entire life. I'm from the South Side. I'm from Clayton County. I grew up 10 minutes from Moreland Avenue. I grew up going to Turner Field. I grew up going to the fucking Georgia Dome. I grew up,
preach, brother.
You know, spending all my time in the underground, taking the fucking train from underground to the Braves games, to the Falcons games, fucking seeing a torch runner carry the Olympic torch,
to get stabbed at 5
right in front of my fucking house. Dude, I'm Atlanta as they come, through and through. I love Atlanta. Same. I carry it with me everywhere. I tattooed it on me so I can carry it with me. One of the first things people will tell you about me is Joey loves Atlanta. Everybody you talk to, cousin Ian, my cousin Ian has told complete strangers, I have never met anybody in my entire life that loves the city of Atlanta as much as Joey does. But it's getting to the point where I don't know if I want to be an Atlanta Falcons fan anymore, if this is how it's going to trend.
Yeah, well, you know, with me, it's like whether I want to or not, I'm going to do it. And I mean, because I'm a real diehard. But no, I'm with you 1,000%, man. Like they're making it very hard to do this shit. And I saw like a meme the other day that kind of made me laugh. And it was like a kid talking to his dad. And he's like, don't worry, Dad. I don't think you're a loser just because you like a really bad football team. And like the dad like smiles or whatever. I'm like, that's me. That's me. You know, like everyone's like, wow, man, like you really do. Like, you know a lot about like the NFL and all these other sports and all this stuff. And you're a real diehard, but you know, your team sucks. Like, yeah, they do, unfortunately. But we'll be here when they do finally, you know, get out of hell and you know, come up like the Walking Dead and get out of this shit. And it might be 5 years from now. And honestly, I think that's probably a fair timeline. I think because they
5 to 10 years.
Yeah,
5 to 10 years is when the Falcons can start looking good. So my 40s could be great.
I hope so, man. And awesome. Your kid's gonna be a teenager, and you'll be able to take him to the playoff games and all shit like that. Like that sounds good.
I'll tell you right now, my son Carter does not give a flying fuck about football at all.
Because this whole team sucks.
I've tried and tried. He's even offered to
watch. We grew
up
with Michael Vick and Matt Ryan and shit. So it's like at least we had fun growing up watching this team.
Any game I watch, it doesn't matter what it is. Like 5 minutes later, he's like, I just want to go play Fortnite. I'm like, all right, fine. It's not your thing. I'm never going to force anything on him. Hopefully he'll gravitate.
You sit down and watch this team not get third down conversions. All right.
I can't. I mean, okay, I will tell you that my parents kind of forced baseball and football watching on me because at my grandparents' house, if the Braves are playing, it was on, and you're not watching cartoons, you're not watching Hey Arnold, none of that shit. You're watching the Braves. Yeah. That's what you're fucking doing. Yeah. It didn't matter how good, how bad, how ugly the Braves were. He watched every single fucking game. He even had my grandfather even had this hat that had a built-in radio with an antenna that would come up and headphones that would come out of it.
Love it.
And it had a radio dial on it. So if he was out in public somewhere where he couldn't watch the game, he was listening to the fucking game in his fucking goddamn ear.
Yeah.
So the Braves were ingrained to me at a very fucking young age, as were the Falcons, as were the Hawks. I was taught at a very young age, you cheer for where you come from. That's why I'm a fucking Georgia Tech fan. That's why I'm a Hawks fan. That's why I'm a Braves fan, Falcons fan, is a Dream fan, fucking Thrashers fan when we had them. You cheer for where you come from. You support your home team, and it's just something that hasn't attached to my kids. They don't give a fuck about sports. My girls do like the WWE though, which is kind of cool.
Okay, but there's no home team for that, unfortunately.
No, there's no home team. Yeah. You can cheer for AJ Styles. He's from Atlanta.
All right, I'll cheer for him then.
And Cody Rhodes and fucking Austin Theory. He's from McDonough.
Okay, all right.
But other than that, all right, guys. So
beautiful rant, by the way. Beautiful rant, man. I got to get.
We're gonna let you guys go.
That was good. I enjoyed that.
We'll talk to you guys next week. It's getting to the point in my life right now where I can't wait to stop talking about the Falcons and have the playoffs be in full effect.
Yeah, and we'll switch into Hawks mode, and then Braves mode, and hopefully those teams can give us something fun to talk about.
The Braves made some pretty interesting signings. We will go into detail of that next week.
Yeah.
Because it happened so fast. All the news was given to me today, and we just didn't have enough time to prepare for it. Also, this has been our longest episode so far. We almost hit the 2-hour mark. So everybody that bared with us, thank you for listening. We do very appreciate you. If you guys want to listen to us more, you can follow us on YouTube at ATOWN Rundown. You can follow us on Instagram at ATOWN Rundown. You can check out Jeremy's band Sunmancer. They're going to start playing shows again in the new year in 2026. Right now, they're taking a little creative break to write and get everything together and enjoy
our guitar
the
player
holidays.
just had a baby. Yeah, so
absolutely. So it's very much deserved.
Congrats to Kyle, by the way, Kyle Maslick.
Congratulations, Kyle.
Congrats to little baby Violet.
Fatherhood is a beautiful thing. Cherish every moment, because one day you're going to sit back and ask yourself, where did the time go? And I'm such a soft dad that even saying those words almost made me choke up. Fatherhood is the most beautiful thing I've ever done with my life. So congratulations to you, Kyle. Love it for you. But yeah, let's wrap this up. See you guys next week. And I guess let's see who is my playoff team going to be this year. I think it's going to be Buffalo. Let's go Buffalo.
Hey, if the Texans get in, give me Texans.
Okay. All right. Hopefully we'll see the Buffalo and Texans in it. Can you imagine Buffalo and Texans in an AFC fucking championship game?
I think it'd be a nice challenge for Josh Allen against that defense. Top NFL defense right now.
But Buffalo's got to win some games first. They got to slowly.
I think they'll be there. I think it's pretty obvious that the
Let me tell you, dude, if they can beat the Patriots, they can make some magic happen, because coming back 21-0 is nothing to sneeze at. That's incredible.
Absolutely. Not counting them out.
But all right, guys, you guys be safe. Don't drink and drive. Just drink before you drive, and have a good time.
Rise up.